Well, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome, Facebook family. How are you? I know it is such a pretty day. I'm pretty sure it ain't too many people looking at us, but we are on our assignment. And our assignment is to show up at 6 p.m., whether you guys show up or not. So I hope there is somebody out there, but in the event that there isn't, I pray that when you come in, you will hit replay and catch us replay
On
and
replay.
not live. But again, hello, hello, happy Saturday. Welcome. Come on in, come on in, come on in. We are the Milburns, Barbara,
Joe Milburn,
and together we make
Team
Team
Milburn.
Milburn. And we are here for another edition of Marriage After 70. And today's topic is the love that stayed, what kept us together. So come on in, share your page, repost it on your personal page, tag a sister, tag a Ram brother, tell them come on in and join the conversation. We are very glad to have you here on this Saturday afternoon. It's a gorgeous day. We haven't had a day this pretty in a very long time.
Yes.
And even though we had various duties to do today, we always make it back here by 6 o'clock because that's our assignment, that's our task, and we try our best to stay on it. So come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. Before we get started, I'm going to do the housekeeping stuff first, just to make sure that once we get to chattering, we don't forget to say this. I want to say thank you to Apostle Dr. Dunamis D, my pastor, my spiritual leader, my mentor, and her daughter Ariel Fuller, who have given us the opportunity to be here live on Black and Married with Kids. They give us this opportunity to come every week, same time, same place, 6 p.m. Give us the chance to share our heart and tell you what we feel, what's on our heart, and to see what you guys are thinking too. So come on in, come on in, come on in. We're going to get started in a few minutes. Again, our topic is love that stayed and what keeps us together. So we thought that this was a very interesting topic because a lot of times when you see a couple, you see they've been married 30, 40, 50 years. Even nowadays, 20 is a milestone, 10 is a milestone. Because young people, I don't mean no harm, they quit too easily. You know, they just, the least little thing that goes wrong, they give up. But you look at us, you look at any couple, you see smiles, you see all of the nice pictures that we post on Facebook. You don't see the hard seasons. You don't see the sacrifices that we go through. You don't see the misunderstandings. You don't see the hurt feelings. You don't see the offenses as they come and go. But all of that is in the pot. It's like a soup pot. It ain't always happy. It ain't always perfect. Damn sure ain't always perfect. But it's a little of this and a little of that, and it all goes together, and it makes a good marriage. Anybody can talk about love when everything feels good, especially when you first get married. Oh my goodness. You know, you're still in the honeymoon stage and everything is all hunky-dory and you can't stay out of the bed. You're like little bunnies every 2 minutes. You're hopping back in there again. And you don't really think about the everyday struggles, you know, the going to work, the putting up with the boss, the traffic that you have to endure every day going back and forth to work. The bills, you know, medical bills, dental bills, grocery bills, gas bills. Anybody paid attention how much gas costs to fill your car up nowadays? What I used to put in, and I have a small car, and I could take $20 and it wouldn't even take the whole 20. The other day I put 20 in there and it sucked it up and looked at me as if to say, you got some more? And when I got in the car and looked at the gauge, it still really hadn't It hadn't reached full. It was between a half a tank and three quarters, but closer to the half.
Mhm.
So there's people who drive a truck, the big SUVs. I can't imagine how much they're spending on gas. All those things go into play. We were looking just before Joe and I came upstairs. We started to watch John Q with Denzel Washington. I know it's an old movie, but in the beginning, him and his wife were sitting at the table and they were discussing the things that were going wrong. They had just repossessed his car,
Mhm.
and she was, giving him the blues because now he has to take her to work in his car, which means they're sharing a car. Thank the Lord they had another car, but they're down from two cars to one. All of those things are things that come into play in the marriage. Um, there's always a give and take. There's always a back and forth.
Right.
There's always, well, you said that in such a way that you offended me. Did I mean to? No. Did he mean to? No. But sometimes in the hustle and bustle of what you're doing, and you just respond. It's not even respond. You react. And we're learning the difference between that. That's why I said it in our kingdom classes. It's a difference between when you respond to something and when you react to something. Sometimes we just react. We haven't even let the whole sentence get out of our partner's mouth. We done already determined in our little brain what they're going to say or what our answer is going to be when we haven't even really listened to what it is that they're saying. So we have to learn little things to keep the marriage together. For most couples, it's not just the romance. Romance is nice, it's beautiful, but it don't happen every day. Like we say all the time, it's not a fairy tale. That fairy tale that they fed us when we were growing up about the knight in the shining armor. I mean, I do have a knight in shining armor, but he ain't riding no white horse, let me tell you. And sometimes when I call, he really don't answer right away. He will come. What the old people used to say when they was talking about Jesus, he may not come when you want him, but he will come. But sometimes we get our butt in a bun. I think I'm saying that we get our butt in a bun because we want what we want, when we want it, where we want it, how we want it. And we don't get all those things pop, pop, pop. Then we got attitude.
Well, like a microwave?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
We got attitude,
Mhm.
and that's not the godly way. That's not the covenant that our Father would have us to abide by.
Mhm.
How do we talk to each other
Right.
when we're having a disagreement? How do we show grace? God shows us grace every day.
Every day.
Every day that we wake up, He showed us a little bit more grace.
Mm.
But do you show your spouse grace? Do you show your children grace? Married with children, do you show your children grace? You've had a hard day and the children are getting on your nerves and they pulling at you and they want mommy this, daddy this. Do you show them any grace? And when you get older, like us, it looks way different than it did when we first started out. When we first started out, I know for me, I'm gonna speak for myself. I was not thinking about what it was gonna look like when we got 60 or 70. What about you, Joe? Were you thinking that way?
No, I wasn't thinking what it would look like when we became 60 or 70, but I was thinking about the future.
Okay.
You know.
I can't even say that I really did. The only thing that I really can speak on that we did that was definitely futuristic
Mhm.
was planning for our burial. We did that years ago. I'm not even sure why we did it, but we did that years ago. We decided where. We got plots and all that, and we started to pay for them a little bit at a time, just like
Mhm.
our regular bills, and they're paid for. So at least when we go, that's not one thing that we have to worry about. But I didn't think about my 401k and putting the right amount of money in it, or retirement and what we were going to do on retirement, or if we were even going to have enough money to live comfortably during retirement. I didn't really think about that. but your values and the consistency of
Mm-hmm.
those values are more um it's just more in front of you when you get older.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have seen some strong seasons.
Yeah.
We have some seasons that really weren't that great,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But we're still here. And so for you out there in Facebook land, hey Lillian, how you doing? Facebook land. They go Pam from Delaware.
Hello.
I see a bunch of folks out there. I see Tiffany Green. Hi, Tiffany. For you people who are married, for ladies, couples that are out there, tell me, what do you do to keep your relationship together? I'm not talking about keeping it happy, because happiness depends on your happenings. I'm talking about keeping it together, where you're working with him, he's working with you, and no matter what is going on, you remember that you are a team.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you're doing, whatever I do affects him, whatever he does affects me. What do you do to keep that harmonious relationship going? And while you're doing that, I think I'm going to turn it over to Joe and let him talk for a little while. I'm going to go to my Facebook page and share my page to see if I can get some more people in while Joe's talking.
Okay, the topic is the love that stays.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yes, the highs and the lows we went through, the peaks and the valleys, and in the valley when life wasn't pleasant, it wasn't kind, when sickness entered, and the enemy played tricks on our mind.
Mm-hmm.
We was in doubt, you know, but we still had to endure
Mm-hmm.
because we was trying to make a lasting relationship because of our covenant that we had made. But we go through these things and we just had to learn how to navigate through them. And, it was kind of hard, uh, we didn't do everything right. You know, we didn't do everything. And we struggle, we struggle with a whole lot of things. We struggle with our relationship because we had to feel each other out, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought I was doing good when I was working all the time, and wasn't as good as I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
But we had to struggle through that, and we wind up getting together and trying to get an understanding. Well, nowadays they would say a balance.
Mm-hmm.
So where what we could do and what we couldn't do, what gets on our nerves, what gets on Barbara's nerves, what get on my nerves, and we work through that, through the grace of God. We work through that, a whole lot of stuff when the enemy plays tricks on your mind, you know, that's a category where you have to be patient and try to understand each other and our feelings towards each other
Mm-hmm.
and try not to grow apart while we're trying to still grow.
Mm-hmm.
So we would be trying to do so much and not necessarily pleasing each other, but we would try to please ourselves so we can have some peace with ourselves.
Yeah, I guess that's one way
Right.
of looking at it. You hear Joe and I talk about the time that we were apart from each other. We were apart from each other for a pretty good while. I had one interpretation of what he was doing in my mind,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he had a totally different interpretation in his mind of what was going on. We both had our little individual plans on how we were going to fix it or not fix it or throw in the towel or quit or whatever we was going to do. And we had made it up in our minds. We hadn't discussed it with each other. We definitely didn't discuss it with God. And we just decided that this was what we was going to do, and we did it. Um, I can speak for me. I can't speak for him, but I do know that for me, the time that we were apart, there was so many times that I wanted to pick up the telephone and say, Joe, I messed up. This is not what I want. What can we do to fix this? But of course, the pride would kick in. The enemy would tell me, "Oh, he don't want you back, or you're happier now. You can do what you want." All of the lies that the enemy tells you, because truthfully, the enemy does hate marriages. He does not want us to be together as a family because God created the family. And if he can destroy that, then he's met his goal. He's conquered. You know, there's one less black family that's together. We as the black culture, I believe that we have a harder um, time fitting into society, if you will. And I believe that this goes back to slavery time and all of the things that were instilled in us on how you should act, how you should be, how the family should be. Those things led to our behaviors. And so we had a mindset that, especially women, when you think about, I don't know dates specifically, but when we first started talking about being independent, women's lib, burning the bra, all those kinds of things. And we no longer wanted men to, quote unquote, tell us what to do. We were not being submissive. We were wanting to do our own thing. Now, all those things, they look good and they probably felt good at the time, but it wasn't God's way. It definitely wasn't God's way. And so we went about our own way of doing things, because I remember we used to say this phrase on, if it feels good, do it. Whatever it was, if it feels good, do it. And God ain't told you that. Like, really? Like, what were we thinking, or were we thinking at all? So definitely what kept us together, and one of the things that I mentioned before was God. Because even though we were going about doing our own thing, living our own life, we were married but separate, if that makes sense. I was doing one thing, he was doing another. I was looking at it as, with him being out of the house so much, because he did work a lot. He had a regular job, he had a part-time job, and then he had a government job on the side. So when was there time for me? And I used to say this jokingly, but you know how many people say stuff in a joke that they're really serious about? I used to say, yeah, well, I'm the last one on the totem pole. When you don't run out of things to do, then you come home. And he would look at me and laugh, just like he just chuckled then, because he didn't really think that I was serious. But that was really how I felt. I just didn't know how to express it in a way that he understood it. So I would, be sarcastic with it. And so I got to the point where I thought, he's gone so much. And it wasn't that I didn't trust him. It wasn't that I thought he was running around, or that wasn't on my radar. A lot of times when the man is always gone, the first thing the woman thinks is that he got somebody else, that he's running around, he's doing this, that, and the other. That really wasn't on my radar. It was just that those things outside of the house, in his mind, that were making a good living for us so that we could live good and he could buy me things and whatever, that wasn't what I really wanted. What I really wanted was the quality time with him. And so I felt like, okay, so we are apart so much that, to me, it makes sense that you go do your thing, I go do my thing. So then at least if I'm by myself and I decide I want to get up and go out, I want to get up and go to the movies, I don't have to explain where I'm going. I have to say when I'm coming back. I don't have to tell you when I'm going to get there. I don't even have to tell you where I'm going, because ain't nobody home but me. I just get up and go do it.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, he had a whole totally different agenda that didn't have anything to do with what I was thinking. He, in a sense, was trying to push me out because he didn't want to share some things. So, like, our minds were all messed up. And we weren't thinking about the covenant per se.
Or togetherness or anything.
Right.
We were just thinking what we have to do to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I pushed her out of the relationship, and because I wanted to end it because of my sickness. So I wind up pushing her out of the relationship. I'm not going to use the word manipulated her, but that's what it was. So that I could go ahead and deal with what I needed to deal with by myself, which was not the right thing to do. But wind up, we separated for a while, and even though I pushed her out of the relationship, still had an attitude because I told one of our friends, I didn't ask her to leave, so I'm not asking her to come back. And that was real arrogant, but that's the way I felt at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, meanwhile, during that time, I had a relationship with God. I got a closer relationship with God during that time. And I went on and brought faith in the equation, and I think that was the best thing that I could have done, because he was working on me and I was really putting my time again between work and now it's working God, work in the church. And I was going through a whole lot of trials and tribulations and everything, but it was working for my good.
Mm-hmm. Well, all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. And as my auntie always reminds me, and those who are called according to his purpose. She always tells me everybody wants to leave that part out. That's the most important part. Those who are called according to his purpose. And I do believe that even though our separation was a hurtful thing, that God's purpose was to make us see it through his lens and not our lens, so we could come back to where we should have been if I had not left.
Mhm, mhm.
But this is a perfect time to mention this. This coming week coming in, May 20th through the 22nd, on the Healing for My Soul movement Facebook page, the private page, we are having a free challenge, 3 nights. The challenge is called Healing My Heart Through Prayer. Now, because I follow Pastor D and have been following her teaching for some time, I understand that the heart is the command center. That's where God talks to you. That's what God looks at. Scriptures even tell you man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at your heart. So, in order for our heart to be pure, it has to be open. But it can't be open if it's closed and calloused because of the traumas and the things that we have went through in life. Abuse, domestic violence, whatever it is, betrayal, and it goes both ways. Women get betrayed, men get betrayed. It's not all a woman thing. The heart, right in the middle of HEART, is ear. ear, because you got to hear from God in order for your heart to be healed. So I said all that to say that the challenge next week, May 20th through 22nd, 3 powerful nights, 8 p.m. each night in the Facebook group, the private Facebook group. So you have to be a member of that group in order to be able to participate, but you need to register. So if you're interested, go to www.healingformysoulchallenge.com and sign up. Do it today. Don't wait. It's free, guys. Free. You don't get free teaching in the in-depth kind of teaching that we get. That's something that you don't get anyplace else that I know of. And she's offering it, Pastor D, Apostle D, Dr. D, she's offering it for free. What do you have to lose but time? We start sharply at 8 o'clock. You'll probably be done by 9:30, if not earlier. But prayer is the answer to everything. And I will say this, and then we're going to get back to the topic. In the Bible, pray, I should say, is mentioned 109 times. Prayers with an S on it is mentioned 24 times. And if you take all of the combinations with pray, prayed, praise, all of those, we're talking 547 times. All of those praise do not mean the same thing. They have different meanings. When we look at it, at least when I read the Bible, every time I see pray, I thought it meant that you get down on your knees and you pray. They don't all mean that. But you won't ever know that if you don't ever study. And you won't ever have the means to study if you're not directed along that path. So join the challenge. Come and learn some of the stuff that we're learning. And you get to learn it for free, guys. Free. I'm going to keep saying free, free, free. You know, tell your friends. I had a girlfriend who told me one time I invited her to a challenge, and she said to me, "Oh, Barbara, nobody has to teach you how to pray." I beg to differ, because I can honestly say that since I have been following Pastor D and have been learning her strategies, been learning her prayer strategies, understanding words, understanding what they mean, understanding how to apply them to my life, I get more manifestation in my prayers than I ever had in my whole life. And I've been going to church for a mighty long time. And I believe that's why we get frustrated as Christians, because we pray, we don't see nothing happening. We were like, well, God not listening. Well, maybe you're just not asking him right. I asked God to do this and he didn't do it. Maybe you're not talking to him right. Maybe your heart is not in the right position to talk about it. We learn all of that. You got 3 days to learn some of it for free. For free. So, Joe, do you have anything else you want to say about staying together and loving each other? And you got something you want to bring it home with?
Yeah. You know me. You know I'm going to say what kept us together was never perfection. We had misunderstandings. We had hard days.
And we still do.
We had moments of doubt, and times when life tested us more than we could really expect. But with grace, trust, and commitment, we stayed, you know, somewhere between the chaos and the calm. We kept finding our way back to each other, you know. What kept us together was respect, communication, friendship, and that understanding of real love is not only felt, it is built.
Amen. And I want to say this part because we talked about doubt. We don't have no doubt. In the beginning, sometimes when the marriage is new and you think, oh, shoot, did I marry the right person? Or maybe you let your girlfriend get in your ear, and it's usually the girlfriends that don't have a man and they always telling you stuff. And you might think, oh, was this the right thing? We don't have no doubt at this point. We too old to have doubt. Our minds are set, our minds are stayed, and no matter what goes right or what goes wrong, we are committed to each other. We are in covenant with each other. We're not doing that contract thing that we did the first go round. We are in covenant with Jesus Christ. And no matter what happens, well, no matter what goes wrong, whatever disappointment we might face, we tell each other every day, I choose you.
I choose you.
I choose you. So one more time, thank you to Apostle Dunamis D, Dr. D. I love you to death. I love you to life.
There you go.
I love you to life.
Thank you.
And her daughter Ariel, who have given us this opportunity to be here on this platform. Please share your page. Hey, Demeter, how you doing? Hi, Sister Jackie. See Jacqueline Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Positive force. That's right. Free. 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 So tell all your friends, tell them about the challenge. Let's get as many people in as we can because time is getting short, y'all. Jesus is coming soon. I know we've been hearing that for a long time, but when you look at the things that are going on in this world, you look how things are playing out. And as we talked about in class this morning, we wrestle not against flesh and blood,
Right.
but against principalities. And those principalities are in the high places. They are the authorities, the ones who make the laws, the ones who set things in place that we have to abide for. We need to learn how to pray, to fight and war against them, because those are the only weapons that we have. The only weapons that we have. So share your page, tag a friend, let somebody know about the challenge, invite them to come on in. There is a link in the chat, a bit.ly/BMWK group. That takes you to the Black and Married with Kids private group. Go there if you haven't already. But then once you have gone there, please go to the Healing for My Soul movement page. Sign up for the challenge. Become a citizen of our kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Walk in the path that God has created for you and learn what that really means. Because I have learned a whole lot and I feel like I have wasted so much time, but then God knew where I would be.
Mm-hmm.
He showed me the correct path while I still had time to war for my legacy. And as I said to my brother the other day when he called, he was like, he's worried because I'm getting older and we lost our mom at a really early age. She was 63. And he was like, sis, you know, I don't want to lose you and yada, yada, yada. You, my mom, since my mom passed. And I'm like, child, got time to die. Got too much warring to do. I got to war for your butt. And my grandchildren and my great grandchildren. I ain't got time to die. I got too much to do. So, guys, as always, it was a pleasure. Again, I'm Barbara Milburn. This is Joe Milburn. Together we make
Team Milburn.
I choose him every day.
And I choose her every day.
And we're going to continue to do that no matter what Satan has in store. He can go back to the pits of hell from which he came. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you later.